Hi guys, welcome, and today I'd like to talk with you about the changes in the time, changes in Berlin before reunification and after reunification. What's new, what was changed, how the Berlin looked at that time and how it looks now. The most difference, and think about what's better, what's worse. Maybe something is worse, maybe something is better. I don't know. But I will tell you how it was and how it is now. And there's nothing about that I'm talking that sucks now. It's not sucks. It's really nice, but it's different. And I think there's something was better at that time, something is better now. I don't know. We should talk about it. And if you want to talk about it, write me a comment. We'll talk about it. Maybe I will make another video about that with your feelings, or maybe you want to record some video about your feelings about the past, about the present, what is now. Wait. So maybe you want something is going on. Vertes Unfallkommando. Something happened. Well, how I like the word commando. Yeah, it's really nice. It's the police department for traffic incident, for some accidents on the road. So don't worry. That word is not so hard as you may think. But that's another thing. Yes. Before reunification, you know that Germany was divided into two countries. This good, West, and that bad, East. And the East was under occupation. It was occupied by a Soviet Union. It was not a normal country. It was the DDR, Deutsche Demokratische Republik, and Berlin was also divided. Berlin was on the territory of the East, and the eastern part of the East Berlin, was as a capital of East Germany, of DDR, and the west side was some kind ex-territorial part of the West Germany of Bundesrepublik Deutschland, and it's how it works. And in the west part, in the Bundesrepublik, there were our soldiers, Bundeswehr, but there were also three other armies: US, British, and French. And as you may know, the territory of the Bundesrepublik was divided into three sectors: French sectors, British sectors, and on the south, US sector. But the West Berlin was also divided into three sectors: to the French sector, British sector, and US sector. And it was something like country in a country, because in each sector was totally different. And in the Bundesrepublik, the sector was really big, but in Berlin it was much smaller. So people can go from one sector to another. Just it was a normal city. You only see that in the administration, the postal codes, and other sectors, and by military force, of course. But the next thing is that the culture of each sector have a little changes made by people from these countries. For example, in the French sector, German culture was a little changed by the French. In the British by Brits, in the US by Americans. But it wasn't nothing made by force. It was something like natural. Because that forces was in Germany from 1945 up to 1990. So it was 45 years. Yeah, for 45 years was here. So if you live with that people for 45 years, that's a mix of culture, of course, and kids of that people also earned something from a German culture, and that's the reason that now the culture in each each Bundeslands are much different. Because there's not only difference between Bundeslands, but it's also difference between the old sectors, something like that. Influence of that. The nice thing is that about Berlin is so divided by culture, not only in case of immigration, but also in case of the former sectors. So I grew up in the US sector, and as you can hear that my English is much more American than British. And if someone doesn't know that I'm from Berlin, the first thing is, oh, you are somewhere from US. This is the first style of thinking. If someone didn't know that I grown up in Berlin, that's first thing. But the other thing is that if you will go to Zielendorf, to Ratov, you will see the Tempelhof. You will see that a lot of things has that influence, and you can see many relations. What changed? What changed after 1990s, after reunification? That's some kind of psychological syndrome, some kind of psychological thing, like a kid kicked off from a school, something like that. Of course, or people who is kicked off from some kind of group, some kind of society. And that's how I can say it. Before the 1990s, in the West sector, there was two languages on the same level, German and English. In the British sector, it was also two languages, German and British. In French sector, there were also two languages, German and French. But the French sector wasn't very stable. It wasn't very stable, so let's make it simpler. Say that in Bundesrepublik before 1990s, it was as same easy to use German as English, because there was so many people from US and UK, so you could use on the street both languages at the same time, and a lot of people was proficient in English. A lot of people was proficient. A lot of people there were here was a lot of native speakers, and it was how it worked at that time before 1990s. After unification, it a little changed. So now the mainstream is German. Of course, you can use English. English is not forbidden, and no any things like that is not allowed. It is allowed, but you can see that education system a little failed. I have to say it. It's not easy to say for me, because I'm a German citizen. I'm talking about my country, and when I have to say some about the education system or something like that, it doesn't make me happy. Really, it doesn't make me happy. It's very sad, and it's hard to say for me. About that. But that's another thing. Damn it, another thing. And that's the reason that if you have kids, it's really good idea to send it to international schools, so they will have a better language education. Because in schools you can learn many important things, and we have really good education, really good high schools, really good colleges, very good unis. That's true. But in public schools, in some public schools, that's a problem with teaching and learning foreign languages. For example, if you want to learn English and you go to public schools, it's really good to have a lesson from a language school. Of course, language schools are really good, but I think that in public school we should also have a good language education. We should. Hard thing, yeah? Very hard thing. What I can say? The problem is that many schools teaches British, and if you are a native speaker of German, it will be much easier for you to learn how to speak using American pronunciation. It will be much easier for you, because American pronunciation is not one American pronunciation, which is different from a state to state. But let's make it simpler. Let's say that is something like a unified standard or average American pronunciation. I know that it isn't, because there are differences between the states, but let's say that it is. Okay? Let's say. And that American pronunciation is for the native speakers of German, it's much easier to learn than British pronunciation, because British pronunciation is very hard to learn, and it's very unfriendly to our German tone. That's true, and that's the very important thing, that in that situation it's very often thing. When you learn British, but American pronunciation is much familiar to you, it can happen some terrible mix. So you know British English, you know British, but you speak British using US American pronunciation, and that's something like it's some terrible mixed, because if you speak British, you should use British pronunciation. If you speak English, use American pronunciation. And a lot of people will say, Andrew, what are you fucking talking about? Andrew, what are you fucking talking about? Because the English was invited in England. That's not something like British. The English is from UK. That's a US English. What are you talking about? No, my friend. The English is a language which is invited in the US, as I think. And the English is a language which was invited in the US, and the version of English used in UK is called British. But it doesn't matter, yeah. A lot of people in UK will kill me after I said that, but don't worry, you will have that possibility. I think when I will be on a travel to UK, you will know about it, so you will have possibility to kill me. Don't worry. You don't have to go to Germany, to Berlin. I will go to you. I will make it easier. But we'll make this on live, so I'll, views. My subscribers want to see it when I will die. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, we are going back to the main topic of the speech. Yeah, my speech. To the main topic, which is the difference in West Berlin before reunification versus after reunification. So now it's much harder to use English, and it's really hard for a tourist, because for me it's not a problem, because I can speak English and I can speak German, so that's not a problem, but that's a problem for other people. It's a problem for tourists. The next thing is that before unification, Berlin was the old city in Bundesrepublik in Germany. Because at that time, every man after high school has to go to a military force, to Bundeswehr, and serve some time in that military force. But residents of the West Berlin was excluded from that. It wasn't obligatory for residents of West Berlin. So, but as we know, at that time, the West Berlin was a part of Bundesrepublik, yes? So any citizen of Bundesrepublik was allowed to live in West Berlin, and all residents of West Berlin was allowed to live in other places in Bundesrepublik. That's natural. And in case that the Europe was integrated at that time, also citizens of other European countries was allowed to live there, even if they had to go to a military force in their countries. And give me just a second, because I need to park my car here, because where we are at Zante Promenade in East Berlin, near Eastgate, because I need to go to a store for just a second. I wanted to go to another store before, but fuck, I forgot to say I was making this video. Yeah, it's a little nice quid pro quo, but wait, because my point of view, yeah. Make it simple. It's not simple. I know. Andrew. Okay. And in that case, many people moved from Germany, from Bundesrepublik to West Berlin, just not to go to a military force, not to waste life in a military force. It was that kind of thinking. So a lot of people went to Berlin, and at that time, Berlin was a capital of a culture, and it is still now after the unification. After the unification, because before the unification, the West Berlin was a capital of a culture, of fashion, of impression, of clubbing, of party, of alto, of everything. It's like Vegas in Europe. It's like Monaco, Ibiza, Vegas, small LA in Europe, something like that. But after the unification, when the wall fell down, even East Berlin is a part of that multicultural drinking show. I will call it drinking show, Berlin drinking show. Oh, that will be really nice for a series. Berlin drinking show. Yeah. Okay. I will make it in the description. Yeah. Nice. But so the only changes is about the language. So now there are not as many soldiers in Berlin that it was before the unification. There are not as many British and US soldiers, and that is harder to use English. It's true. What changes took place? A lot of people from eastern countries in Europe is allowed to work here in Germany. For example, from Czech Republic, Slovakia, Slovenia, Croatia, Bulgaria, Romania, Poland, and many others. I know there are special periods for work allowance for people from Romania and Bulgaria. I know about this everything, but that's not a topic of that video. So the good thing after reunification is that the many people from the east is allowed to work here. It's really good. The nice thing is that more multiculti from other countries than it was before. That's another kind of another type of multiculti like it was before, but it's also some kind of multiculti. Next thing is that even East Berlin and part of the east of DDR now is a part of Bundesrepublik. We are one big Bundesrepublik. Thus, we have one soccer team, and we all make parties in Berlin. So even that from the east. So we are really welcome, and that people, and it's really nice that we can drink together. If you, there's a spirit of Berlin that. That's alto, drinking, but in very cultural, very familiar atmosphere. So I think that Berlin is a capital of beer in Europe. Many people will say this mention, it was Oktoberfest or Kölsch or many other cities, but I think that Berlin is a city of party. It's capital of party. It's capital of drinking. It's capital of crazy lifestyle, and it's a capital of crazy people, as we call here, coole Leute. And so it's nothing more that. And I think that's a really nice city to live now. It was nice before reunification as West Berlin, and it's nice now after reunification. It's also really nice now a city to live. I think that's cool. That's really cool that we have in Europe some city like Berlin, a city when you don't have to think too much, you don't have to overthink. That's something that you go to, you make your job, and after that the weekend will come. Friday, Saturday, drinking. Party, dance, clubs like E4, really nice club. You know that I really like E4, and that's a thing that you can feast like there's no tomorrow. And that's the spirit of Berlin. Feast like there's no tomorrow.